is up, guys? Welcome to another Put the Power Down video. And today's video is basically going to be me explaining, does adding a tune to your car or basically modifying your car in general void your warranty? And the answer to that question is basically no. Now I'm going to start off with basically the reason why I'm talking about this is because I recently tuned my car last week, and even before that I had a boiler axle back system on the car and a cold air intake, and I did different videos about that. If you haven't seen those, go check those out. But basically what happened is people were commenting. They would ask me, hey, does that void your warranty, especially with the air raid intake? Because I made a video explaining how a lot of the Ford Mustangs, and not just Ford Mustangs, but a lot of the Ford engines, some of the throttle bodies are bad, and Ford had basically a recall on that. So when I went in, people were basically wondering, did the dealership say anything? Did they void my warranty because it's all the cold air intake? And the answer to that is no. And basically what prevents a dealer or any company from just voiding your warranty because you have modified your car is the Magnuson Moss Warranty Act. Now you can look in more into that yourself if you Google that, because it also goes with other appliances and stuff. But basically today I'm just going to be talking about how it applies to cars. Alright, so basically I'm going to explain to you guys the Magnuson Moss Warranty Act in a nutshell. Basically the way it was explained to me at a dealer and through online from stuff like that. So basically what it is a dealer or a company basically has to prove that whatever I do to my car, whether it be tune or basically any bolt-on modification, throttle body, air raid, cold air intake, boiler S-types, or whatever, any brand, whatever, they basically have to prove that it was my fault or the modification that I put on the car that is causing the issue. So when I talked about how the people were asking me, did I void my warranty related to the exhaust? Yes and no in a way, because basically if I take my car back into Ford and say, hey, there's too much drone, this and that, and Ford says it's because of my axle back, so basically the mufflers that I have in the car, then they can say, yeah, that's not really our issue, and we can't really help you because that kind of did void your warranty as far as exhaust related. Now basically what I'm saying is you don't void your entire warranty on the entire car. That's not, they just can't do that. It doesn't make any sense for them to do that. It just doesn't make any sense for them to void your entire warranty on the car. That they can just say, we're not going to cover the exhaust just because you have changed something on the exhaust. And it also relates to the cold air intake that I have on the car. Basically the same situation. So if I go in and say, hey, I think there's an issue with my car, and they figure out that it is related to the cold air intake, then they're not going to sit here and cover it because it is related to the cold air intake. So basically it is up to the dealers. You're basically at the hands of the dealer for them to say if they're going to cover it or not. But like I said beforehand, they have to prove that it is what you did to the car that is the basically the cause of the malfunction of whatever the vehicle is doing. And a recent example of basically this type of situation is a YouTuber, SRT Mush. Basically he has a Hellcat Charger, and the early Hellcats, basically the supercharger bearings were bad, and it's a common issue apparently. It's through the forums, and he took his car in to get serviced because he felt like that's what it was. He knew that's what it was, and he took it in, and basically the Dodge service department, they opened his car, saw that he had, I think, a K&N cold air intake or something like that. Basically saw the cold air intake. They didn't even take it into the service area. I think that's what happened, and they basically said, yeah, your warranty's voided. It's because of the cold air intake. And legally they cannot do that. They have to prove that is the issue. So he went through a whole big mess, and I'm not saying just because it's Dodge, and some people say it's Dodge customer service. I do have a friend who has had trouble with Dodge customer service, but as a whole, basically it's not just because it's Dodge. If that does happen, there will be a very long process, and I think he was even going to get lawyers involved, because like I said, they do have to prove that it was your fault, that it was your modification that is causing the issue. Now in his case, they literally just popped the hood open, looked at his cold air intake, and said, yeah, you have a cold air intake on your car, so now your warranty is voided. Now eventually he did get this issue resolved. I think he was talking to the top people at SRT at one point, and eventually got someone to cooperate with him and look at his car, and it did determine that it was the bearings, and he did end up getting a new supercharger put on his car. And this is kind of the worst case scenario that could basically happen to anyone if you mod your car. Now like I said, it was just a simple cold air intake, and they popped the hood and basically said it's the cold air intake, and your warranty is voided. And also I'll put the link in the description to his video, and also RP Productions video about it, because they were actually, I found out through RP Productions about the issue, and then I saw SRT Mush his video, and I just kind of kept up with it to see what's going on. But basically you get the idea. This is basically the worst case scenario that could happen if you do mod your car, and there is kind of that risk because you really are at the mercy of the dealer, I guess, with the mechanics who you're working with. There's some guys, because I was talking to one guy before I just put my Borla Axleback system on the car, and I asked him, will I void my warranty? And he said, well, first of all, I really would suggest changing anything on your car, because there always is that possibility that whatever dealer you go to, because he might not be the technician looking at my car, but whatever dealer you go to, they might say that's the issue, and then you just have to sit there and fight it. So basically, you really are, like I said, you are at the hands of the dealer. But if you do go through the process and you know for a fact, like SRT Mush knew for a fact that it was his bearings that were messing up because it was a common issue. So if you know that it's the thing, then you will be fine. Now, basically, I'm going to start talking about my exhaust. In a way, I did kind of void my warranty as far as the Axleback part of my exhaust goes. Now, if there's a header issue and Ford looks at it, and if they can, like I said, they have to prove that it is my Axleback system that is causing something wrong with the headers, whether it be maybe there's too much pressure and it's causing a leak or something like that, that they have to prove that. Basically, they have to prove it to me, not really to me. If I decided to take it to court and everything, they have to prove to the court, the judge, and basically everything. They'd have to prove that it was indeed my Axleback system that is causing an issue with the headers or anything, if something did go wrong. Same thing with the cold air intake. That's why a lot of people were wondering, did they still warranty, did they still go ahead and replace my throttle body? Yes, they still went ahead and replaced my throttle body, even though I did have the cold air intake on the car, because Ford knew that it was an issue on their part. Nothing I had to do. It was an issue on their part, something that was wrong when they basically sent the car out to the factory, and they basically replaced it for me. Like I said, basically, if you want to look into the Magnuson Moss Warranty Act, you can go ahead and look in more details. It's just not, it doesn't only apply into cars, but it also applies to other electronics and stuff like that. But it is just something that you can definitely look into. Modding your car is something that's kind of risky, but it also is a part of, I guess, being a car enthusiast in a way. I mean, you don't have to mod your car to be a car enthusiast, but it's something that we like to do, something that we like to enjoy, and there is that risk. Me personally, I trust my car. I trust the things I've done to my car. I want to go with the reliable things. Like I said, I looked into MPT and MPT in between Bama, and I heard good things about both of them. And yeah, I figured that MPT is reliable because I was just looking at who's run these tunes, basically doing my research and stuff. So also do your research when you're about to mod your car, just so you don't have to, just so you know that your modification is something that has caused an issue or something that isn't really causing an issue. So basically get your facts straight, know something about your car, especially if you're taking it into the dealer. And last thing I'm going to talk about real quick is my tune. Now, I did tune my car, and the one thing that I forgot to talk about in the video that I did realize when I was at a car meet, I started my car, some guy wanted to hear it, and I revved it up a little, and I hit 4 grand, and basically there's a rev limiter there when I'm in neutral at 4 grand. And I guess the automatics have that, and I don't know why it's there. I think I might be able to take it off. I'm not sure if it was within the MPT tune that was there, or maybe there was a settings thing, because if you've ever tuned your car with SET, you know you can also change stuff yourself. So I don't know if it was there, but I'm gonna contact MPT, see if I can do away with it. I'm not sure if I really like it because it does kind of pop a little since it is hitting the rev limiter. I'll let you guys hear it. But yeah, it's something that I didn't notice about the car, and you know, I'm used to being able to take my car up to 4 and 5, and I know you shouldn't be redlining your car like that, but you know, sometimes people want to hear the sound, or sometimes I want to hear my sound. So you know, that's something I didn't really expect with the tune. Other than that, the tune's been running good. Like I said, I've only had it on for the car for a week, so there will be more reviews and more insights as far as what's going on with the car. And I'll tell you guys in my future videos what else I'm going to add onto the car, what's next for the car. I do plan on putting something else on the car in 3 weeks, and I'm trying to make sure I find the line of basically performance modifications and appearance modifications. And I'm also doing stuff based on price, but I'll get into that in another video. That's basically the video. Be safe, be holy, and I'm out.